Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Variety and Errors, where we can go through some pocket money, see if we can find things worth more than face value in our banknotes. So it's a beautiful day to bill search here in North Carolina. It's kind of overcast and rainy, and I'm approaching moving, which is never fun. But, hey, I got some extra change, so I can't complain too much, and we're going to go through it, see what we can find. So we're going to start off here with a series, which is on this side. Series 2009 $10 note. We'll see a lot more 2013, 2017 Series 10s in most of our bill searches. However, we do come across stuff that's a little bit older. One thing I do notice right off the bat, we got a little bit of a misprint here on the We the People. Now, I mean, that is common for 10s. Let me grab a different 10 to show you that. It's just the way the curvature of that line over the E is, but this one's a little bit off. You can see it's a little bit misprinted, but that's not enough to really call home about. We have some damage around the rest of the bill. General use and circulation. Nothing in the serial number. Let's look at the back of the note. Sometimes you'll get a little bit of overpressing from this serial number that kind of runs over where the constellation Orion is amongst these 10s here, but not on this note. So we'll keep on keeping on. Almost knocked my camera over. Next note, very similar in serial number, oddly, as that $10 note. A little bit of a lack of ink on this too here, but I would have to say it's due to damage from this crease. So whenever this bill was creased like that, just simply rub some of the ink off. Aside from that, very beat up 2009 series, the same series as that $10 note. And nothing there. Next note. That would have been a cool serial number if this was 1058 and then 1058. That would have been a good repeater. But in this case, it's a date note, 1058 and 157, kind of a double year note. But I wouldn't say it's above face value. I get many questions about serial numbers that are in sequential order. I mean, most of the time, unless it's a bunch of star notes, you're not going to really get anything over face value. It's more collectible than anything else to have that. But, you know, like I said, if you had maybe 20 or 30 star notes in a row, you might be able to sell them to the right star note collector. Or if they're like $2 bill star notes, then that would be a little bit less common to have, and therefore you can maybe get a couple bucks. Despite the damage and stuff to that one, I'm going to hold on to the double year note. It's a good example of something to look for. Nothing on the back of it. 2017 series $1 Federal Reserve note. This is in much better condition as it is newer, but it seems to be a lot more fresh from the bank, wherever I got this from in change over the last couple of days. Nothing to talk about as far as design of the $1 note, as you've probably heard in many of my videos. They have not been changed since 1957. So nothing to talk about there. They added "In God We Trust" on the bills in the 50s. But aside from that, nothing has really changed. Really close to a TRINARY note. This 6 made its way in here, but the rest of it's pretty good repetition of 5s, 1s, and 2s. But not a TRINARY and not a binary note with 2 digits, so not something I'm going to hold on to due to the serial number. And I don't see anything really in on the back of the note. It's hard to tell here with any issues with the Roman numerals on the bottom of the pyramid here due to damage. Next bill, Series 2013 $5 note. These are my favorite 5s. I love the redesign of the 5s. Now, you notice on this one, you have a little excessive inking here. So on this, there's 13 horizontal stripes that run the top of the front of the seal here with the eagle clutching the leaves and arrows here. So it's an olive branch, but a little bit of excess ink here. If I had to guess, it's most likely from the printing of the back of the bill, which incorporates a lot denser color. So you will see that, unless it's really dramatic. We did have a couple bill searches ago that was not a 5, I believe it was a $10 note, that you could see quite a bit of this front design pressed through the back. This here, of course, is a Watermark 5. That's going to be there, although you could see it on this one. So most likely this bill's been wet. You got some, what looks to be, I don't know, blood, something like that. Amongst the 5s here, which once again formulate a constellation, but it's an anti-counterfeiting measure called Urian. Looking through this guy, right off the bat, before I even pull it closer, we can notice some excess ink here on the 7 and the 1. Or, I'm sorry, 1. Point to a 0. 0 and the 7. 2013 series note. Now, a slight excessive ink there as it's printing the bill is common. I mean, this is acceptable as far as the amount. Now, if it was filled, or it was partially filled 0, or the top of the 7 was filled, I would say then you got an over ink. But in this case, it's just not dramatic enough to hold on to as an error for me. But it might be for you as far as collectability, a small collectible $1 bill. So hold on to it if you like it. 0531, so May 31st, but not a year on the end, else we would have had a birthday note. So say if it was 0531 1935, I mean, you'd be getting on in age, obviously, at that point. But it would still be a birthday note. We got a slight shift in the seal here. It is sitting a little bit high, but it's right in the acceptable range. And that's it on that guy. A little damage up here. A little bit of excessive ink from a pen or something around the edges. Whoa! Forgot I had a $100 bill. Christmas money. But we actually got ourselves a TRINARY. Sweet. Series 2009A. There's more than one series in 2009 for $100 notes. This one's in really good shape. I believe I got this. Even though I'm way older than people that should get money for Christmas. Somebody gave me this. But this is a TRINARY note. Despite the fact, I wish it was a binary. So if we would have had 5s and 6s, I would have been an even better thing to hold on to. Not an error, but it's a variety note. So 5s, 2s, and 6s. It's an okay TRINARY. Like I always say about TRINARYs, they're more collectible than valuable. But, you know, I like it. I love TRINARY notes. I love star notes. And then this one's a $100 note. So, I mean, it's all, although it's folded here, it's been folded up because it was in a card. Still in great shape. No real damage to the bill aside from the folds on it. So I appreciate that. Great color. Everything's printed appropriately. This is not cracked. This cracks a lot or you get rips around the security strip right here. That's another anti-counterfeiting measure. But cool. I'm going to hold on to that. It's a nice TRINARY. Also a $100 note, so I don't spend those as readily. Moving on. Oh, whoops. We're like skipping stuff. Look at the back of the note. Same deal. These numbers here formulate a kind of constellation almost is how it's kind of called. But that's an anti-counterfeiting measure to not forge $100 notes. Aside from that, everything else seems pretty appropriate on this bill. Next bill, 2013 $1 note. Shifted down slightly in the seal here, but not enough for me to cry about or jump about or have anything about. It's a dollar note. You can buy a Coca-Cola with it. Usually you'll see some of this ink rubbed off of his lapel of his coat here. Because when they print the bills, they're wet. They put them on top of one another, and of course some transfers to the back. And that's where this is from. It looks almost like a thumbprint. So that's what that is. People ask me about that quite a bit. A while back I used to make the mistake of, hey, what is that? So it's not a bad question at all. No question is a dumb question to clarify what you're looking for. So keep on keeping on. You know, whatever questions you have, ask me. Hey, partial stamp note. So this line right here, I'm not going to keep this one unless I find something else, but just to point out, this line right here is what's from what's called a counter stamp. And that's when they receive the strap of bills at the bank. They generally go boop, and they hit it with a stamp. So the strap itself sits right here, and most likely the stamp just slightly missed the mark, leaving the edge of the stamp. Now, if we would still have quite a bit of the stamp on here, or the full stamp, I would suggest holding on to it. I love stamp notes, so I try to hold on to them, but it's up to you if you don't find them collectible enough to keep. Aside from that, it's really cool. Really beat up on the back there. Next bill, 2013 Series $10 note. Nothing in the serial number here. And I don't see anything else jumping out at me on the front of the bill. On the back of the bill, it looks like we got some coffee stains and stuff throughout the bill. So that's going to detract from it if it was collectible, but in this case, it looks like it's just a good old-fashioned $10 note. Next note, another 5, great design on them. Little excess of ink here where his portrait overlaps the front of the seal there. Well, front of the seal that's sitting in the back, but that's not anything new. Get this corner straightened out. Little bit of damage to the front of the bill, as you can see with folds and stuff like that. Damage to the back here where something transferred over to it. We have a little excess of ink here from the front of the bill, but not enough to make it worth more than $5. Getting down there, we got a few bills left, maybe 3 or 4. It looks like a few are in much better shape than what we had before. Nice double date note, most likely a lifespan note, as unfortunately some people don't live as long as others. So 1652, 1676. So that's interesting. We'll look at that a little bit more. I'll look that date up, see if there's anything worth holding this bill or holding on to this bill for. Aside from that, it's very beat up, but I love double date notes, so I'm going to hold on to it. I'll look it up, and I'll put it in the description box below if anything important happened during that period of time. Getting down there, these are all 2017s, that's cool. Nothing the serial number, no broken ladder, no birthday note, nothing pattern-wise. These are nice and crisp, though, so these are nice and fresh. Nothing on the back of the note. You can see it's got heavy pressed on that serial number, but that's normal. Aside from that, nothing on that bad boy. This is actually in order, so that's cool. Well, this one. So this kind of goes back to that sequential order thing. I mean, even if I had, say, these serial numbers and 100 of them in a row. I bought a whole stack, got 100 of them in a row. Anybody can go to the bank and get those, so it does not add value for that. However, if it's star notes or something, you can look up the run. You might have something on your hands there. But for normal sequential bills that are just in a stack or whatever, even if they're in great condition, they're not going to add any value over the face value of the bill. Last bill, 2017. Nothing to talk about design-wise. A little bit beat up. Looks like it's been wet at one point from this rippling effect across the bill. Back of the bill, damaged, and nothing really jumping out. So what are we holding on to? We're holding on to a double date note, 1676 and 1652, with a little bit of a shift in the seal there. We got kind of our better find of the whole thing, which is our TRINARY $100 note. And then one I'm holding on to more is just a good example. It is a double date note, 1057 and 157, but I'm holding on to it more for an example to show people as a $1 note for what to look for when looking for repeaters in serial numbers. So let me know what you think of our finds that we came across in our bill search today on a lovely Sunday. Let me know what you've come across in your coin and bill searches lately in the comments below. But otherwise, I hope you have an awesome holiday season, and I will see you in the next video. See you later.